Here we are at Seamless with no other than Charles, who's in charge of the strategic growth of MyMonty. So Charles, thank you so much for joining me. I would love you to share with our viewers, what is your role exactly at MyMonty?
Thanks a lot for having me, first of all. I'm Charles again. I've started with MyMonty at early beginning, since the start actually. I'm overlooking strategy and business growth. So I oversee the whole strategy of the group in terms of the direction where we're heading, and in the same time, I look into business growth and partnerships. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
And so Seamless is probably the right place for you to be right now.
It's exactly where I should be.
Do tell me, how's it been for you so far?
It's going very well, actually. Things are much more kind of busy this year, especially after COVID measures were relieved, and things are people are more motivated to come, to connect in person again. So it's been much better, especially when it comes to partnerships. Even though the new world is heading into remote, hybrid, video conferencing, all of these things, it's always good to connect in person. So it's going very well. Actually, a number of strategic partnerships in a very advanced stage in yesterday's meetings, and hopefully we're gonna release that as we go after the event.
Great. So tell me about the current locations of MyMonty around the world globally, because you're overviewing and overseeing most of this. Where are you guys today?
Okay, so basically we've launched our product across the European Economic Area. The product is up, live and running, so it's there. You can download our application on Apple Store, Google Store, and you can open a bank account with us. So it's operational, fully up and running. We launched it 2 months ago. As a partnership in the US is under finalization process, and we're aiming to go live in the United States by November 2022. A lot of other strategic partnerships in the region. That's the aim, which is the Middle East, Africa, and that's where we're heading in the short run. We have Asia as well, a very advanced discussion in Pakistan. So a lot of promising ventures in the coming couple of months that I'll be glad to talk about in due course.
Great. So I know that your remit is really focusing on those merchants, right? And do tell me a little bit more about that relationship. How are you enabling them, and why are they picking MyMonty as the right choice for their business?
Okay, so MyMonty is, I call it an enablement solution provider, an enablement tech provider, FinTech, and so on. So we do operate on different segments. Merchant is in one of the segments, so we enable merchants to offer e-commerce. So we offer a very smart payment gateway that operates under the name of MontyPay, which falls under the FinTech arm of the group. On another note, MyMonty has three different enablement segments. The first one is technology. The second one is enabling financially excluded people. So that's when it comes to a B2C proposition, where we launched in Europe and then moving to the US and moving to the rest of the world. Our target is unbanked. So we're enabling these people to come into the financial system, to operate, to have a bank account, a transaction account, because as we speak, we have more than 1 billion people underbanked and unbanked. And financial inclusion has always been a hot topic for international players, and that's something that we have embedded within the strategy, embedded within the vision. So that's when it comes to the second thing. On top of that, we went a bit extra mile when it comes to enablement. Because we've noticed a lot of fintechs and startups, they're having some issues in terms of tailoring specific products to addressing the pain points in their specific markets. So we go extra mile with our clients, and we offer help and support when it comes to go-to-market strategies, product tailoring. So all the products that we're working on are products that are inspired by the enablement keyword that is our driver.
And so you talk about these different countries and different segments. Do you see a universal problem that keeps coming up over and over time again?
The universal problem that I specifically tackling is financial exclusion. That's the universal program. Maybe percentages are different from a region to another. Maybe most of the unbanked are in Africa, maybe in Latin America, definitely in the Middle East. Maybe Europe has a lower financially excluded people. But for me, I define underbanked, unbanked as people who might have a bank account, but they find it very expensive to transact using that account. That's from one side. And from the other side, people who usually have a bank account, but they're not comfortable using it. They're not satisfied from the banking experience. And that's what we're focusing the most on. Even when it comes to our competition, neo-banking services addressing B2C segments, the most important thing that we're trying to work on is to integrate human elements within that digital world, which makes a big difference for users, because most of the complaints, especially in the region that we're venturing, revolves around getting answered by a machine, getting not answered by complaints. So we're integrating video conferencing into our application for you to be able to talk with an agent, with a human, even though you have a chatbot, you have a very interactive CRM system. So that's the main driver and the main proposition that we're trying to put into the table for our users to be much more comfortable having a digital bank account, but at the same time understanding with whom they're talking. So that's kind of the flavor that we have as well.
It's the differentiator that you guys have in the
Exactly.
market, because look at how much competition you have, right? Are you feeling scared about this competition at all?
Definitely not scared, because I'm happy with how things are evolving, and our culture is in partnerships. Again, I'm head of partnerships, so I'm happy to see a lot of competitors. That would drives us to do much more innovation, and in the same time, we can't do everything on our own. We have to leverage on other partners to build a full ecosystem that's as advanced as in different countries in the UK, for example, in the US. So we have to collaborate all together, build partnerships all together to serve the customers. That's our aim. Definitely every partner has its own kind of proposition, but in the same time we're very confident of our own proposition, especially with the full spectrum of services that we're expecting to roll out in the future.
So money is a very personal and emotional driver, wouldn't you say?
Exactly.
So a lot of the people that with this challenge, they're probably really frustrated, and very emotional about this. So being able to provide a solution, you must see a huge emotional transition between your consumers, right?
Exactly.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're seeing as a final result after that implementation?
To be very, very honest, we've launched our product very recently, and we're surprised by the number of people, the number of users that they're subscribing to the application. We've seen a lot of traction, a lot of movement, volume of transactions, and we're very happy to say that, because it shows and reflects a certain level of trust for a new player. Even though our group has been in the market for quite some time, Monty Group, and it's very well known in different regions, different markets, but in the same time, MyMonty is still a startup. And the trust level that we're seeing from the consumers is a very important thing, and is a very important driver that actually defines the need for that. There are a couple of things that as a strategy person, I have to read a lot and stay tuned on all the new developments and the new things that's going in the market. This morning, exactly, I was reading a post and an article saying that people are on average checking 58 times their phone a day. So I was just wondering, how many times do they visit a physical branch, a physical bank branch? So smartphone is there to stay. The digital world is here to stay. Metaverse is coming in the next phase, maybe cryptocurrency, the digital currency within the metaverse ecosystem. So all of these things are things that, even though a lot of people, they still don't trust, or they still not very convinced about their future, but it's the future. That's what I know, and that's what we capture within the strategy to make sure that we're still relevant for our customers in 2, 3, 5, and 10 years time.
Well, you mentioned innovation, and innovation is key for any business to sustain and to thrive. And so can you tell me a little bit more about what is MyMonty actually innovating right now and what's to come this year?
So, before answering specifically that question, I'd like to mention something very important, which is
Please.
the culture. You know, our chairman, Mr. Muntasir, and the whole culture of the company, including how things are managed, the dynamics within the company, are all drivers for innovation. Whomever has an idea, whomever within the company can just pop up that idea and we help them execute it. That's a very important thing that unfortunately it's not very common, even though we all think that that it's something that is very common within the fintech space. I'm not sure if you're following a bit the latest news about the fintech. Unfortunately, a lot of players started their layoffs in Europe. One of the very recent statistics are talking about a number which is scary to me. About 83% of workers in the fintech space showed a frustration from bad managers. And that's something that I'm very glad to speak about, specifically when it comes to MyMonty, is the culture, the people that we're getting inspired from, and how the full innovation is moving forward. One innovation is very hard to talk about. Everything that we're doing is innovative. You know, the way we're structuring our partnerships, the way we're structuring our product, the way we're rolling out our product, everything is innovative in the way we're thinking, and especially when it comes to where we're seeing ourselves heading, connecting all the people together, from mobile operator subscribers to merchants under our payment segment to consumers under our banking sector. So all of these players would be connected at a certain point in time in our strategy, and that's the aim, and that's the most innovative thing that we're heading into, hopefully in the very short-term future.
Very exciting times for you, and to be at the pivotal spot of this business in this industry during this huge, fast transition for all these fintech companies is a great place to be, right?
Exactly.
What is your segment of focus right now as far as industries for you in your department?
So segment of focus is unbanked, underbanked again. And when I talk about underbanked and unbanked, I'm not talking specifically about consumers. It may be consumers, it may be small and medium entities that they've been financially excluded, self-funded, they couldn't grow their business because they were outside the financial system, they don't have a credit scoring, they don't have a behavior that defines their financial needs and so on. All of these are our target segment, whether directly or indirectly. What do I mean by that? From solution providing perspective, we're empowering fintechs to serve these customers. From consumer perspective, this is the core of our target segment. From advisory perspective, from consultancy perspective, we're helping fintechs to address the specific need. And we're talking to a broad network of international players that they are very interested in that specific field to help us support these consumer businesses for them to be able to be financially included in the short period of time.
Charles, you've been a plethora of information. You're very knowledgeable, extremely an expert in your field. I thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge with us today. And I wish any partner looking for a relationship such that you get to offer into your field comes to meet you here at Seamless today, you know?
Thanks a lot for having me again. And it was a great pleasure being with Inside Telecom again. Thanks a lot. And I'm really looking forward for more to come in the future and serving our customers at its best. Thanks a lot again.
You're welcome.